Bro, out of all people, but you make me go into Destiny call. Bro, what do you want, man?
Whoa, hey, hello.
Yeah, I'm at work right now. What's up?
Oh, hi. Okay, wait. I just had one quick,
Here it comes. Here it comes. You go
super
ahead.
quick, super easy
Go ahead.
question. No, just a quick, easy question, okay? Okay. It was about the when he did the I love you sign with his hand really aggressively.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think it's kind of weird that in all the time this has been argued about, that there wasn't a single person who could find a single example of anybody ever doing this that wasn't doing it in a Nazi rally ever?
Oh, is it someone done?
Do you think it's a little bit weird that in all the people that spoke about this, and as dramatic as all this was, that nobody could find a single example of somebody doing this who wasn't at a Nazi rally?
Well, well, the whole basis of my argument is that that's not what that looks like or meant to look like. So, at the at the foundational level, my argument is that that isn't being replicated at Nazi rallies because that's not what it is. Does that make sense? It's more of a
Okay,
foundational argument, not that. Not.
that sure that could be it. Okay, I'm just curious because I don't know, maybe your chat might say it differently. Okay, because I'm Trump derangement syndrome. So like if you look at those two things, does that look similar at all, or do you think it's like quite different? Or
I got you. Hold on. You're really gonna have me fucking put some fucking images like that on my thing? Gee whiz. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I so did again. It'll sound like I'm reaching at straws, right? Or like kind of grasping or whatever. But the way that I see it, right, is that if you get, it's more of a an overlap, right? The guys do it. Let's say somebody, let's say like the main guy. Let's say okay. I don't dabble into these wording. Okay, but listen, the main guy doing it at his best, right? And then some random guy doing it as a whatever, right? The guy doing it at the worst, right? Like it's not gonna be perfect in motion what it looks like, right? There will be some overlap with other motions that people do. Does that make sense? You want me to draw it? So it's hard to articulate, but you want me like kind of like draw it? Like it's kind of like if you don't do the motion the way that it was done, like let's say on the left, right? That's what it's meant to look like, right? And then you showed me the other one. The guy's doing it like it's a little bit like sloppy or a little bit different. It is
okay.
bound to have some similarities to somebody that's not doing it or doing another motion kind of close to it. It's bound to have some form of overlap there. But I don't think
Yeah,
the
so I guess
overlap.
my only question is when you say it's bound to have some similarities,
Yeah,
why is it that in all the people arguing about this, there wasn't a single example ever of another person doing this outside of a Nazi rally? Nobody was able to find a single example of anybody doing this ever.
can I be honest with you? Uh,
Yeah?
I guess my core argument would probably be that people probably stray away from that like type of motion as far as they can, as like a how do you call that? Like
Well, I understand. Well, no, no.
an
Yeah, but
automatic.
remember earlier you said that people are bound to have an overlap, right? But now you're saying people aren't bound to have an overlap?
No. I'm saying some gestures will have an overlap, like all the other ones that were mentioned, right?
Yeah, but why didn't anybody else have, or like, I'm curious, like in this video when Elon does it, you know that he does it once and then he turns to his side and he does it twice. He does the exact same thing twice, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that I don't think that matters. I mean, if
Okay, so if you have a guy doing a thing twice in a row, exactly on point, and we don't have a single example of anybody else ever in politics outside of a Nazi rally doing this, how does it make sense to say you're bound to sometimes just do this?
because I truly believe that it's by intention. I genuinely believe that if the point was to signal something, right, he would have done it one time correctly and one time incorrectly to want to back the other up. Doing it both, quote unquote, accurately, I think that by intention you can almost dissolve that argument now.
I don't think I follow that argument.
Okay, okay. I think the argument dissolves itself because if the point was to find plausible deniability and do the motion that he wants to do, you would have done it one time correctly to signal to people, right, and get those points, and one time incorrectly to get some plausible deniability to try to run with it, right? That would be the way to get away with it, correct? I think it.
Yeah, but he didn't do that though. He did it twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Blatantly.
Which now I think that he did that in the movement was intentional, but not the intention that you think it is.
Okay, but he's never made that movement ever before.
Yeah, but
no one else has made that movement outside of a
but
Nazi rally.
he's never been in that position before either. That's just kind of.
He has literally been on stage several times. We've got videos of him doing a heart symbol to the audience, and we've got plenty of videos of him at other political rallies prior to Trump being elected.
Can I be honest with you? It's just I don't see it. It's like I said. I think it's like a black blue fucking gold white dress moment. I don't see it. I feel
if it was a black blue gold white dress moment, I think that would be okay. But the problem is there's a lot of people out there that will say, hey, Elon Musk, the guy that runs a platform that has more Nazi content than in the history of all time, the guy who did 2 times in a row, like a very obvious Nazi salute that nobody else in the history of politics outside of Nazi rallies has ever done, the guy who constantly signals to far-right movements, who's like part of an administration that has a lot of like far-right weird elements to it, that when that guy did the thing, you're crazy if you think it was an actual Nazi salute. That's what people are saying. They're not saying, oh, I can see how you can say that way. They're saying you're an insane person for thinking that's even possible.
Makes sense. Then, right? In that same sense, right? You could also construct a parallel argument to say that it was not a lapsus, but a movement lapsus or whatever, right? Like, so, oh yeah, I've been seeing a lot of this imagery, whatever. I did that without intentionally trying to convey that message. You could also make
telling me the guy. Do you understand what you just said though? I've been watching so much Nazi content in my free time. I just started unintentionally Nazi saluting.
I mean, let me give you a little bit of an anecdote. It's why you make this argument sound insane, right? And kind of like that's kind of doing like a shock value thing right now. You just said, right? It make me sounds crazy, right? But here's a good anecdote to kind of. I'm not trying to say push this argument, but offer a pretty decent level of what it could be, right? So, and here's the argument. The other day I want to watch a movie, and what I haven't watched is fucking Django Unchained. Okay, and as I'm watching it, and they're just saying the word over and over again. At the point I'm at like the word word number 5, right? And you can tell me I'm a pussy if you want to. I literally stopped watching it, right? Not because I'm offended, whatever, right? Just because it's a lot to hear verbally, back to back to back to back to back, right? I'm like, dude, like, what is like a weird like lapsus or some shit like that, or so like it just because it's in my head for 2 hours so long, it just like out of context, you know, it doesn't even apply. Word just comes out or something similar to it, just because of a repetitive pattern, right?
I understand what you're saying that, but what does the content consumption look like for Elon if that's the case? Is he just watching Schindler's List on repeat every single day of his life? Like Django Unchained was a really popular movie. It had a lot of N-words in it. No other politicians accidentally said the N-word on stage. I don't see anybody else accidentally Nazi saluting. The only issue is you're trying to give these plausible explanations for why a guy who avowedly and openly supports the AfD in Germany as well, right? Why this guy might have just accidentally rapid-fire double-barrel Nazi saluted to a crowd full of like authoritarian fascist accused crowd people.
Okay.
That's just like there's just like a lot of stuff there.
Okay,
like,
Steven. Okay, then I'll give you a counter argument. You think that the king of plausible deniability wouldn't give a hint of plausible deniability in his double? Why double barrel it? Why not single barrel it?
Who's the king of plausible deniability?
Oh, brother. Oh, come on, bro. Look at his Twitter. His Twitter is
who's the king?
Bro, he's been plausible deniability Andy for fucking like 2 years straight, doing the Interesting.
I'm trying not to
Wow.
be mean, but Elon Musk does not do plausible deniability. He very openly states, and everybody knows what he believes. What do you think he does
No.
plausible deniability around?
No. I mean, come on, bro. I mean, bro. I gotta be honest with you. You're at this point. I think you're rage baiting. If you don't at least give me this point, that like.
Hold on. You just said that this is the king of plausible deniability, implying that he does it all the time, and you can't give me a single example. And when I ask you for one, you say,
Yes.
I'm rage
Yeah.
baiting? No. This is Elon
I'll show
derangement
you.
syndrome.
No,
You are
I'll
doing
show you. I'll show you. I'll
EDS
show you.
right now.
So you gonna let me? You gonna let me? Are you gonna let me do it or not?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. I'm just saying I just want one example. What do you think he asked for plausible deniability on? This guy
Every tweet he does is plausible
every
deniability.
random fucking e-girl on Twitter that DMs him. I don't know what plausible deniability you're talking
Here
about.
it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Bro, you can just scroll when he does emoji something interesting. Like now he's on this fucking rant about fucking Tesla, whatever. So we're not gonna see as much. I'll just keep scrolling down until we see some.
Do you think quote tweeting somebody that says, if you quote tweet a thing and it's like, despite being 13% of the population, 52% of crimes or whatever, you think if you quote tweet that and go interesting, do you think that's plausible deniability?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Wait, what does plausible deniability mean to you?
Well, wait, plausible deniability would be like, oh, you know, I actually found that interesting. It's not that I'm racist. It's that I actually found that interesting, so that's why it's interesting. Plausible deniability. How is that not plausible deniability?
Because when you do it like 400 times a day, every single day, that's not plausible deniability.
Wait, it absolutely is, though.
No. What plausible deniability is going outside with a camera and having 400 pictures of birds on your camera SD card and one picture of a kid and being a pedophile. That's plausible deniability. Elon Musk is coming home with 400 pictures of children on his camera, and you're like, oh, it's plausible deniability because there's one picture of a bird.
I don't.
No, it's not a bad argument. Nobody has to guess what Elon Musk thinks about any of these things. He's not quote tweeting stuff for ambiguity. He is constantly amplifying and constantly signaling everything he believes on Twitter. He doesn't deny any of these things. What do you mean? Where does he ever deny them? There's no plausible deniability.
Then stop it. Okay. If most of the topics that Asman talks about or looks at on his stream, let's say, are about a race or some shit like that, right? Is he just flat out racist then? Is he just a complete racist then for you to you?
If he represents a singular position over and over and over again, yeah, that's the impression that you would get. Yeah.
And he probably has what? Plausible deniability, you would say, right? You say, oh no, I was exploring a topic. Oh no, I was looking at, and he would probably fall into that guise of, oh, he's just covering news and whatever, right? And then that would be his plausible deniability, right? That's what Elon does every day.
I don't understand how he could be more blatant aside from literally just saying the thing verbatim.
It's what I'm saying. It's his bread and butter. He's doing that over and over again. He just finds a piece that he agrees with and types something that doesn't agree with, but just gonna, oh, look at this, whatever. And it gets put to everybody's FYP.
Yeah, but oh, look at this. It's only plausible deniability if there's enough obfuscation. Like if he were to do that with a bunch of random stuff, then people would be like, oh, crazy. There is no plausible deniability around the guy who is part of Donald Trump's cabinet. Like everybody knows what his political beliefs are. Everybody knows what he thinks. Like he talks about saving white South Africans. He openly supports the AfD in Germany. Like there is no confusion or ambiguity here.
Yeah, I mean, one of my viewers sent me a Elon Musk and interesting as a quote on the search bar, and there's a bunch of shit. It's just,
yeah, but it all points in one direction. There's no ambiguity there.
Yeah, but
it's not even a dog whistle. It's just he's just making it obvious like what his political beliefs are. Like it's very obvious.
Okay. So if somebody point blank were to ask him, are you this, right? Are you anti multiculturalism? Are you whatever, right? Or are you racist? I mean, if it was
they don't say racist, but he would say something like, "Well, I just think that DEI is well, I just don't think it's a good way to do things." He would say some shit like that, like he would just talk about those things, like DEI and ESG and all the other shit.
Some plausible deniability shit then.
Plausible deniability, like maybe of the absolute, like of just calling somebody a racist, but you understand that like even racist people don't necessarily see themselves as like racist.
Yeah, but that still falls under plausible deniability. That's why I said it. That still falls under that action.
neo-Nazis or whatever, some like won't necessarily, like people who are white separatists won't say things like I'm racist. Sometimes they'll say things like I think that races are I'm actually less racist than a multicultural person because I think that every race deserves
And
their own country to thrive and grow and have their own
okay,
beautiful cultures that aren't all being erased by
yeah,
whatever the white people are doing
I
in the United States.
understand,
And those
Stephen.
people want consent. But if somebody says I'm a white separatist and I want a different country, would XQC say, oh well, that person's doing plausible deniability? Why? Because he's not calling himself racist. What? He's not denying anything. He just doesn't agree with the label.
Well, that falls under plausible deniability. Yeah, exactly.
So can you give me an example of a person who doesn't have, because at that point, every single thing is plausible deniability.
No, it's not.
Every single thing where you don't say I am X counts as plausible deniability.
Okay, it's not because you don't perceive it as that. It is not the action at its root. Like, if somebody does something, right, in their own POV, the way they do it, they're engaging in plausible deniability on a daily. It's what they do, right? It's not because you don't view it that way that people don't view it that way themselves. Like, it's what they're doing. I don't know why like, then in your case, then you, Steven, nothing is plausible deniability then because you know everything because you're educated and you're informed about a lot of topics. And nobody can ever slip to the cracks of plausible deniability because you got them. You know better. Well, it's still plausible deniability.
I think I think you're working with a different definition of plausible deniability than other people are. Like when you do plausible deniability, the goal is to make it so that if somebody accuses you of believing a certain thing, you can say like, oh no, like, no, not really. Like let's say there's a guy that I really want to support because he's like a Nazi creator or a communist, a tanky creator, and I look at his stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna promote his, but like I don't want it to be obvious, so I'm gonna find like 3 other people and promote them as well who have like different political beliefs, and then I promote all 4 of these people. I have plausible deniability. But if I support 4 people who are all tankies, and I support all 4 of them, and you're like, wait, are you a tanky? And I go, no, I just support these guys, and they might happen to be tankies. That's not plausible deniability at that point. You're not trying to be ambiguous. You're not even trying to hide it.
Yes, but in that case, you're still taking a stand. You just said, I'm supporting it. That is what you would find to be. That's pretty cemented. You're solidified.
What do you think Elon Musk is doing when he's retweeting people on a platform where he's unlocked it so that you can earn money for how much exposure
That's what
your
plausible
tweets?
deniability is. He's not cemented. He's not stuck in that stance. He can still wiggle out of it. That's what's plausible.
Okay, I'm curious.
He can wiggle out of it.
Interesting. You get a ton of stuff that's interesting on your screen. If we were to choose 15 of these at random, how many of these would be right-wing versus left-wing beliefs? What do you think?
Like I said, your view, you catching him onto that, doesn't mean that that's not what he's doing.
If he was trying to plausible deny, what is he trying to have plausible deniability for?
Okay,
So like, for instance, if I were to support 1 tanky and 3 ordinary content creators, and really I just want to support the tanky guy, my plausible deniability, what I'm trying to hide there is the fact that I support tankies, right? And I'm doing it by supporting 3 other dudes.
Okay.
So the plausible deniability, that's what I'm trying to, what is Elon trying to hide by exclusively quote tweeting the same type of content over and over again?
He has a lot more extreme views than he portrays himself to be, right? And by quote tweeting interesting on pretty decently radicalized ideologies or tweets or things that are kind of malignant or malicious, right? He can propel those thoughts and shit like that without taking a hard stance and without being stuck onto those ideologies himself. How hard is that to understand it? He can wiggle out of it anytime he wants to.
Okay, I'm just curious. If I were to grant this entire thing, then wouldn't we go back to the original Nazi salute and say that he absolutely was doing that intentionally then? If his whole goal is to be doing plausible deniability, then he probably is a Nazi. And he was doing this because he is a Nazi.
Because there again, you misconstrued what I said. When I said plausible, if the goal was to plausible deniability, that he does that all the time, right? He wouldn't have done it twice the same way.
You would just say that he thought he was doing that, but when he said I was just doing it as a heart salute, isn't that him trying to do the plausible deniability, kind of like quote tweeting far right propaganda and saying interesting 50 million times?
Okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give you an argument then. Let's say I'm in some fucking game, okay, and by accident, oh my god, some guy kills me, and I call him the N-word by accident, and quickly I need to think about something. What could I do possibly to wiggle out of it? And maybe I'm gonna say I'm gonna throw another insult, but it's not the N word. It's really close to it. It's like noob. Oh my god, that's really close. It kind of sounds like. So now I can say, go guys, look, the first time I was trying to say what I said on the second time, guys. Guys, that would be plausible deniability, right? If you were going to do that like he does all the time, you wouldn't do it twice the correct way. That would be like a fucking PewDiePie went on the bridge and just said it once and, guys, what I meant to say is, and says it again.
Okay, true. But this would be like calling someone the N-word, and then somebody's like, wait, what'd you say? And then you say, oh, I called him the, and then you just say the N-word again.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
You're like, oh,
exactly.
I'm sorry, I mean something else.
It's why by intention.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no, I understand. But now my question is, in the history of all of your entire life, have you ever heard of anybody doing this ever?
Most of what he does in history, you can't find somebody doing that shit, let's be honest.
No, I can think of plenty of. Here, I can give a. You know what? I can give an example. I've done this, and I bet almost every single person in your chat has done this. I give an example in the same vein that almost every person. Okay, you ever in a chair, either in a classroom or in an office or some bullshit, and you think you've got a fucking, you think you can let one loose quietly, and it ends up being a loud fart, and then after you do it, you like move your chair a little bit to be like, oh look, it's just the chair moving. Ha ha ha. Everybody's done this at least once. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's okay. Nobody has Nazi saluted twice. Nobody has said the N-word twice to mistake or to cover up the first N-word.
yeah, because if the intention wasn't to do it, right, then they wouldn't have to do that. If the intention wasn't to do the salute, and it looked like it, then doing it twice makes sense.
So the intention was to do the salute?
No. If the intention wasn't to do it, then it makes sense to do it twice.
Okay. I mean, this is unbeatable logic.
Because you view it as a salute, and he doesn't. So doing it twice when it doesn't compute as doing something bad, so it does it twice. To truly understand the argument, you have to put yourself in the shoes where, let's say, you didn't know, you as Steven, that in the United States, inside the N word, you can't say that. And you go into a store and you said it, and people say, whoa, what'd you say? What would you do? You would probably say it again, right?
Yeah, there's a Jackie Chan scene in Rush Hour. What's up? And the guy at the bar, remember?
So, if you had no idea that the N word was a bad word, you had no idea. For you, you thought it meant, I don't know, bread. Because you're from Europe. You come to the United States, and you go into a store and says, hey guys, I would like to have one, and then you just ripped it off. And people went, whoa, wait, a what? What would you do then? You would probably say it again, right?
Yeah, I understand. I agree with you. And let's say that did happen in real life, right? Would you assume that the guy, maybe he just didn't know?
Yeah.
Now, what if that same guy came in and he had a white power tattoo across his neck? He was wearing a Ku Klux Klan head. You know that he controlled the largest social media platform in the world that was starting to machine gun fire out Nazi propaganda. He was supporting people, a party that people call the far-right authoritarian party in Germany, the AfD. He was constantly platforming some of like the most far-right content ever, and a lot of people. And he was part of a political party and supporting a candidate who was accused of supporting anti-Semitic neo-Nazis, and that guy did it. Would you have the same assumption?
No, I wouldn't. But I have to be honest with you, I just don't see it. I think that this guy is not that he's good at it, but he usually at least covers himself in a way that he thinks he'll get away with it.
You understand that
I
this
don't
guy was
seem
stupid enough. You understand this guy was stupid enough to try to explain his Path of Exile gear on stream to fake his cheating, right? The guy's probably just fucking retarded.
Well, that's just Dunning-Kruger. I mean, let's keep it a buck. That's like ultra Dunning-Kruger.
Okay, so maybe he thought it was just kind of funny and epic that he could Nazi salute twice and get away with it. No, is that not possible?
Like I said, I don't see it.
What would possibly make you see it? Is there what would change your mind on this?
I mean, almost anything, really. Almost anything. Legitimately, almost anything more that happened before or after would give it to me, yeah. I just don't see it.
Almost any. Okay, so double tapping the Nazi salute, no, but almost anything. Almost. What does almost anything else
No, no,
mean?
no. Anything to back up the behavior. Like almost anything that would reinforce that. Oh yeah. That would yeah. Anything that would reinforce that.
I mean, like nobody even wants to work with the AfD party in Germany because that party is so far right, and Elon Musk like openly supports it as hard as he possibly can. This fucking retard doesn't even know U.S. politics, let alone German politics. That's not like a little bit
I don't know
weird?
what RFD is. I don't know what that is.
The AfD is it's the far right. Some people argue it's the fucking neo-Nazi party. It's probably a little bit too far, but in Germany, but like it is the far right party in Germany that people hate so fucking much. Like nobody even wants to form a government with them. Everybody hates this party. It's the super far right party in Germany, and he like openly and avowedly supports it for like who the fuck knows what reason. It's super weird.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that, but I don't know what the validity of that the introduction of that here.
Um,
I don't know what was the validity of that. Like, how do you link that with this? I don't
how
get
do
it.
I link Germany, the country that's known for Nazis? How do I link the far right populist national conservative party that they have right now and the fact that Elon Musk supports it? How do I link that to doing a Nazi salute? Is that what you're asking me?
I mean, like I said, you're asking me to make assumptions. You're asking me to make like an immediate like
Well, no,
to,
wait,
to,
wait,
to
just to be clear,
convict them
hold on,
to convict these guys to being Nazis off the
clear.
rip. I mean, I don't know.
I never said I'm trying to convince you to be Nazis. I'm not asking you to make assumptions. You're asking me to do a Mr. Beast obstacle course for why a double tap Nazi salute wasn't actually that. You're the one who's asking people to make assumptions, right? Because he clearly did. He said the N-word twice, and now you're saying, well, this is why he didn't know what it meant. Right? This guy who's the wealthiest person on the planet, who was partners with the most powerful person on the planet now, right? Who won the election, who campaigned in the United States and supports far-right parties all over the planet, and is now on the platform that is more anti-Semitism and more neo-Nazi content than any other platform on the planet, doesn't know what the Hitler salute looks like. And you're telling me, hold on, you've got to understand why the double tap Nazi salute wasn't actually that. I'm not the one making assumptions.
Okay, like I said, I feel like even at his stage, that I feel like he is dumb. He is irresponsible, dumb, outright offensive at times. I gotta keep it a bucket. Out of all of his behaviors, that seems to me like an all in that he never commits that far onto anything. I think that's like all inning. I just don't see him doing that.
You don't see. He literally went to Wisconsin and dumped $30 million into the election and then danced around on stage like a retard. The guy goes out on stage with a chainsaw. The guy went all in on Doge and found fucking nothing after staking his whole reputation on it.
Yeah, but
I mean,
I
like,
think I think these
goes all in
stances
on stupid shit all the time.
these stances don't cook you as hard as that would because
Stanton don't contribute. This guy has lost more value as an individual out of a company than the entire GDP of some countries because of how unpopular and stupid his political positions are over the course of a few months.
Yes,
I mean, what else do you want?
I understand, but talking about somebody's downfall as somebody who didn't build a single brick in this guy's the wall that he's built is just it's out of nowhere. I don't.
What do you mean out of nowhere? You don't think Hitler built any walls? I mean, what do you mean?
I'm just saying.
And good things at the same time. You're just saying
somebody that acquired fucking oceans of money. I think that you come in and say, oh look, he lost that much. Is of any value to this argument? It's just stupid. I don't think you know any better.
Hold on. I'm countering the argument that you said of I don't think he would ever go all in on something so dumb. And I can show you that he has clearly acted in incredibly stupid ways. He's done dumber things. If anything, I could just say Dunning-Kruger, like you said earlier, about his Path of Exile stuff, which was cringe and weird.
I think if he did a legitimate Nazi salute and he took the time to actually do the whole gesture correctly, I'm telling you, it would probably be more damaging than most that he's done the last 3 years combined.
But he wouldn't, because people like you would say, well, look, he only did it once. He probably made the same mistake he did before.
Well, I mean, I disagree, because if you think about Ye, think about Ye, think about it for a minute. He had a bunch of plausible deniability shit in the past. He had a bunch of, oh no, I didn't mean that, whatever, and he was just kind of navigating that line, right? And he wasn't losing much. Let's keep it about. A lot of his album releases were pretty good, right? Like they hit the charts. They were still being endorsed. Stayed on Spotify. He was still doing fantastic. But the minute that he actually said, no, that's what I mean. I'm that bad. I'm doing all of this. Now he's completely cooked. They're the same way with Elon. He knows if he actually said, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing that. He would lose a lot more than him gliding that line of no. That's not what I mean. That's what I mean. And you refusing to understand that is just it's outrageous. I don't know what to tell you.
Kanye West has a mental illness. If your standard for Elon Musk's behavior is supposed to match up to a guy who is severely autistic and most likely has bipolar personality disorder, if that's your standard for behavior, fine. But I don't want to ever hear you like cite Elon as a serious figure ever. If this is the amount of charitability you're going to grant this guy, and you're going to compare him to a retarded bipolar guy whose mind was destroyed by Pete Davidson's cock, then I don't even know. I don't know why you would cite Elon as being an intelligent figure for literally anything. You couldn't trust a single thing that he said. I don't know why you would even.
I'm not gonna do some cringe fucking like bullshit armchair psychologist, like anti fucking Goldwater standard fucking
that's
motherfucker.
exactly what you're doing.
No,
you're doing that.
No, you are.
No, I said I see a double tap Nazi salute, and you go. Well, actually, it's not a double tap Nazi salute, because if he was going to do a double tap Nazi salute, what it's showing you is that he actually knows that he doesn't know that it's a bad thing, and that's why he did it twice. If he would have done it one time, it would have been, really bad. But the fact that he did it a second time means that he committed to the thing, and that shows that he actually didn't know what it was.
Offering you.
Both sides. Like you're saying that I'm the one doing the mental joke. I'm saying kind of looks like a double tap Hitler
Okay,
salute
okay,
to me, dog.
okay, dog. And now I'll explain it. That was just a plausible explanation on why that would be the case and why that would happen. And I would give you the same charitability. Like whenever you got banned and you came back and you said the N-word straight up, right? Remember when you did that? I didn't say, well, I think Destiny's just a racist. I didn't say that. I offered some plausible explanation on why he would do such a thing at the time.
No, stop. No. You didn't argue, though, that he didn't say the N-word. If I said the N-word, then I'm saying the N-word. I wouldn't say, oh, I thought I was speaking Russian for a second. What are you talking about?
No, the explanation. Okay, it's both different things. But the point I'm making is the same. No.
The comparison is apt. If I say, am I allowed to say the N-word here? If I say an N-word, okay, then I'm saying it. Okay, if I say an N-word, I'm saying an N-word. I'm not going to say like, oh, I didn't know, LOL. I'm not saying, personally, now people can have their beliefs, I personally don't think that Elon Musk is a Nazi. I think he's an edgy fucking retard. That's what I think he is. And I think he was signaling to other people, look, I'm fucking cool, I can Hitler salute. That's the thing. But it was obviously a double-barrel, double-shot Hitler salute, obviously. Like, it was... Nobody in the history. That's why even though everybody tried to post pictures, because all they could find were pictures, nobody could find a single video of anybody outside of a Nazi rally doing that, ever. Because that's what it was. It was a double-barrel Nazi salute. That's what it was.
Okay, fair enough. And is there any footage of him doing the jump with the belly out? Is there any position of done that in the past? Doing some sideways fucking autistic jump on stage? Anybody's done that before?
He does it, yeah.
Yeah, him. Anybody else know?
I don't know, actually.
Okay, well.
Yeah, I mean, I can find people that jump or whatever. You know why he does that, right? Do you know why he does that?
I don't know. It's the Nazi jump. It's called the Zump. It's what it is. Clearly.
No.
It has to be. It has to be.
He does it because he's 7 years old and because he's trying to make his body look like the letter X for the X platform. That's what he's trying to do. He wants to make an X. That's why he jumps and he puts his arms and his legs out.
Okay. That sounds fucking dumbass. That sounds.
I sent you 4 pictures. That's literally what he's doing. Yes. You realize that this guy is obsessed with the letter X, right? He bought the domain like 30 years ago. Do you know what he calls that one kid with the weird name? You know that he calls him X, right?
Yeah.
He named one of his children X. He has a platform that he renamed. He took one of the best branded platforms of all time, Twitter, like a bird, and you tweet, and he renamed it to X. He has an AI company called XAI. He's got a rocket ship company called SpaceX.
Okay, yeah, but see...
The only thing that's surprising, he doesn't have a thing called Tesla. I don't know why he didn't rename that company.
Okay, what I was arguing...
Oh my god. Wait a second.
What? Yes, somebody found some proof.
X? Wait, are you...
I actually...
Are you...
What? You left the call. You left the call. I don't get it. Is that a joke? You left the call. I don't get it. Was that the joke? That he was going to say, is that you? And then he leaves the call? Chat? Sorry, I don't see it. I don't see what is to gain out of such a risk.